Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving straight into a definitive historical audit of our, let's face it, incredibly fragile financial system. We're going to blend the profound 11th century philosophy of the Islamic Golden Age with the cold, hard mechanics of modern banking. Our goal here? To understand exactly why our global economy feels so incredibly brittle today and what it truly means to be wealthy.
To figure out how this system was built and where the cracks are, here's our diagnostic agenda for today. We'll cover the modern money illusion, Al-Ghazali's moral benchmark, the fractional reserve mechanism, the psychology of greed, trust as the invisible glue, and finally, the final historical audit. Let's get right into it.
Section 1. The Modern Money Illusion. Unmasking the origins of our banking system.
So I want you to really think about this for a second. How did a simple piece of paper, something with absolutely zero intrinsic value, become this massive addiction? It's literally the one language everybody speaks, right? From the beggar on the street to the billionaire in a penthouse, everyone understands it. To figure out where this crazy power actually comes from, we have to rewind and look at how the very first banks were born.
And that brings us to the classic goldsmith scam. Thousands of years ago, people needed a safe place to stash their heavy gold, so they gave it to goldsmiths and got a simple paper IOU in return. Pretty soon people realized, hey, trading the paper is way easier than lugging around chunks of metal. But then the goldsmiths realized something massive. They noticed people almost never came back for the physical gold. So they did what humans kind of do best, they got greedy. They started printing fake IOUs for gold they didn't even have, and then lent those out for profit. And just like that, boom, the modern currency illusion was officially born.
Moving on to Section 2. Al-Ghazali's moral benchmark, a medieval auditor for modern markets.
Now, to properly audit our current system, we're bringing in an expert from the 11th century, the scholar Abu Hamid al-Ghazali. He literally watched Islamic empires get rich incredibly fast and started asking, well, what happens when a civilization gets rich way faster than it gets wise? It's a fascinating contrast. Today's economists look at money mechanically. It's all data-driven math, metrics, and algorithms. But al-Ghazali, he viewed the economy as a moral ecosystem. For him, looking at the psychological and spiritual impact of wealth was way more important than just tallying up the numbers.
See, for al-Ghazali, money was absolutely never meant to be worshipped or hoarded like some sort of status symbol. He actually compared money to a mirror. Think about that for a second. A mirror has no intrinsic value on its own, right? Its entire worth comes solely from what it reflects. In the case of money, it reflects the ability to facilitate honest exchange, allowing us to trade, build things, and actually cooperate with each other.
Because he saw money as a tool for circulation, he delivered this incredibly powerful critique. He basically argued that hoarded, idle wealth is dead money. When the super wealthy just lock their assets away in a vault, they are, in his exact words, freezing the bloodstream of society. It blocks the circulation of resources, totally distorts prices, and creates this artificial scarcity that really only hurts the everyday person.
Which leads us to Section 3, the fractional reserve mechanism, stress testing the modern banking machine. Keeping al-Ghazali's rule for honest circulation in mind, let's directly stress test the modern descendant of that goldsmith scam. I'm talking about fractional reserve banking. Here's how the math works today. You deposit $1,000 in real cash. The bank legally only holds a 10% reserve, so just $100, and they loan out the other $900. Then, when that $900 gets deposited by whoever receives it, the bank loans out 90% of that. Through this wild cascading loop, your single $1,000 cash deposit magically turns into up to $10,000 of virtual debt, literally just by banks typing numbers on a screen. Crazy, right?
And that brings us to the terrifying reality of bank assets. Roughly 10% is real cash, and 90% is just virtual digits floating in the cloud. Think about the so what here. If just 20 to 30% of people try to withdraw their money at the exact same time, the whole system just completely fails. Why? Because it operates entirely on fractional probabilities. It's not backed by actual, tangible cash in a vault.
All right, Section 4, the psychology of greed, the human elements driving financial decay. So why on earth do we blindly accept such a fragile, illusion-based system? Well, it all starts with our financial DNA. See, our financial decisions are rarely, if ever, purely rational. They are deeply, deeply programmed by our past. If you grew up watching your parents struggle to pay the bills, or on the flip side, getting everything you ever wanted without asking, that totally wires your brain. It perfectly explains why some of us absolutely panic sell the second the market dips, or why some people just hoard money out of this deep-seated irrational fear. And then, of course, we have the ultimate psychological trap, hedonic adaptation. This is that exhausting, never-ending treadmill of never having enough. You hit a massive financial goal, say you finally get that salary you've been dreaming of, and within a few months, it's just your new normal. You immediately start chasing the next milestone. This endless chase is exactly what drives the reckless speculation, the crazy profit chasing, and those massive market bubbles that Al-Ghazali warned would eventually rot a society.
When those financial incentives get corrupted, the symptoms pop up literally everywhere. We see people chasing social status by drowning themselves in luxury debt. They're making impulsive market trades based purely on emotion, completely ignoring the absolute magic of long-term compounding. At the end of the day, people are willingly chaining themselves to massive loans for supercars or designer clothes just to look rich to complete strangers. They're trading away their actual true financial freedom for temporary materialism.
Moving to Section 5. Trust, the invisible glue, the true foundation of any economy.
To find the ultimate cure for our diagnostic report today, we really have to contrast currency with true wealth. Currency is just a medium of exchange. It's literally paper. It totally relies on our collective belief, and it's super easily manipulated by rulers through stealth inflation. But true wealth, that's entirely different. True wealth is having absolute, total control over your own time and your choices. It's living completely independent from the crushing stress of debt. Flashy materialism is just a manufactured illusion. Owning your time is the only real wealth.
And this circles us right back to Al-Ghazali's most profound insight. Economic collapse is rarely, if ever, about a nation actually running out of money. It is almost always about the total breakdown of trust. When leaders debase their currency or when merchants speculate dishonestly, it radiates this incredibly toxic poison of distrust throughout the market. And once that invisible glue of trust finally dissolves, the entire financial house of cards just shatters.
Finally, Section 6, the final historical audit, delivering the verdict on our financial system. Bringing all these different threads together, the verdict of our historical audit is crystal clear. Our financial system isn't just math, it is a moral ecosystem. If we detach wealth from social responsibility and just let this massive banking engine run purely on human greed and fractional probabilities, well, the math alone isn't going to save us from a collapse. As Al-Ghazali warned us 900 years ago, where justice is lost, prosperity cannot remain. So, I want to leave you with one final provocative thought. Take a hard look at your own financial DNA. Look at your daily habits and the system we all participate in every single day. Does your personal pursuit of money actually build true, unshakable wealth, the kind that gives you ultimate control over your time and your life? Or are you just endlessly chasing the goldsmith's fake receipts, feeding the illusion? Think deeply about that one. Thanks for joining me, and we'll see you in the next explainer.